it's just very brief meditation, Cho meditation. Although, as you know, Cho meditation has many aspects, very profound. So there are many aspects we can practice in approach from many directions. Then I found one of the way to approach or the look at the Cho practice is this this part. It's Tonren, or the kind Ramachuchim called the paradigm shift. Inviting the something we don't want to invite. Then give away, give what we cling on to. So, but in the case of the Cho, it become a little bit extreme in the sense that we feed the body. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about why body and also magic, the experience. I'm just guessing because I was not living in the 11th century. But I'm sure you have your own experience when something happened in your life, or something extreme, or even not extreme, very shocking, or the very hurtful things happened in you or carrying since you were childhood. And sometimes that we can see what looks like, no? Sometimes become like really demons, or the so we go to a cemetery or scary places, and we put ourselves in those scary or the frightening situation. Then we invoke internal fear, and then that manifests externally, actually. Like so that's just my guess is what happened to Marie Clapton in the 11th century. That's what happened to her. She was a seer, or she was able to see more, because some people can see more in the human realm. Some people can hear and see more, like, and something like that. She was an amazing female practitioner, and she was able to see those demons and manifested an internal. Because she was very radical, because she said all those demons and external forces, everything was from mind at that time in the 11th century, as if she was the first psychotherapist in the world or something like that. Anyway, so those forces we can feel. Maybe if we don't see, maybe we can feel in our body, no? If we started to attune more and more, we can feel the forces, maybe part of our body, or something very shoulder, or sometimes, we get some kind of backache or something. I had a long time, I had a backache, but I went to the doctor and a physical therapist. They couldn't figure out what's wrong with something like that. Then it manifests in the body, pain as a pain, or sometimes in even external circumstances or external things as manifested. So demon takes many forms. So in our life, in our experience, we meet those demons. So in Cho practice, what magic Clapton, that's what exactly happened, I think, to magic. So she talks about so details of the demons in demonology. This demons is this demon, this they have, for example, zombie, the Laurent, body rising, that's called zombie. So zombie is the manifestation of this specific demons, internal demons experience, something like that. So many. So in Cho, we purposely use that forces, and then invite them and feed them and give everything what they want. So in the sense that we in our life we haven't processed, we kind of pushed away, or we didn't want to experience, so that, for example, grief, or we don't want to think about, we don't want to grieving, then we disrupt ourselves and we do something else, and so then we haven't processed, right? Then what's happened was, then they come so-called karmic debt collector. We creating our debt, like bank account. We don't pay the whatever we owe. Then it's debt, right? We're dead. So then karmic debt collector comes. There's a specific term in Tibetan. It's called rencha. So rencha is one of those demons. So we collected throughout the entire life. Maybe if you believe the karma in a previous life, we accumulated all these rencha, karmic debt. And then they manifest. If we don't pay the debt through this kind of practice or consciously working on it, then we accumulate in the future, become a big, and all this, it's interrupt your spiritual practice with something, or the life. And so we practice, in that sense too, we practice yeah, so there are many ways to practice Chu. Of course, there is a very beautiful Chu ritual. We do chanting and praying Dharma. We're using entirety of the body, speech, and mind and practice. We use everything, senses and physical movement, dancing, and everything. But the premise of Chu practice, I feel this one. The Great Mother, we as a Great Mother, we as a awake awareness, then approach to our own human self. We cannot approach to our own human self ourselves. We as a human, like a drowning mother cannot help the drowning child, no? So at least we have a sense of we are not that. So shifting the identification from this just simple mere suffering human self to the true nature. So just rest in the true nature. Then from there everything happens. So in the sense that the entire Vajrayana practice, tantric practice, is starting from there. Like when we visualize, first we come to this resting mind. Then visualization just happens from the expression of our own true nature. Bang! Like a refuge tree or the accumulation of the merit tree. So it's everything manifesting from this true nature expression. Then all these beautiful praise start. So that's I feel very important to connect with that true nature, at least the sense of it. Then from that point of view, we approach this human self. Because what's happened to this human self? I'm so familiar. This child within us, she trying to help. She's doing her best. She's trying to help, trying to best. Good intention, but she doesn't have a wisdom, running very well. Like a little child, like a 3-year-old trying to running a show, trying to help. So then causing so much interruption, so to speak, if I may use that term. And so our approach is to approach very motherly feminine, because they are starving for feminine. principle, feminine energy, maternity forces, maternity energy. They are starving the little child, inner child, which because we didn't pay attention, we ignored all the. So they are yelling at us, so to speak, need attention. So we pay attention gently, kindly. Yeah, just my experience, little experience I had. I used to teach the teenagers at the alternatives high school. Those teenagers are very wild. They came from the dysfunctional family. Many of them, never had a real love from family, or they, society or school label them as a bad kids or something like that. So they came and they're starving for love, unconditional love. And so, I used to teach tea ceremony and some little this kind of meditation. And so just put them into this environment, just sit quietly with themselves and unconditional love in circumstances. And they started to really settle. They started to notice their own loving quality. So that's kind of very beautiful. And so I think we have to approach in that way to our own being, our own relative self. No? What do you think?